The San Diego Comic-Con 2022 has shown us new looks at old costumes for characters in Street Fighter 6. We're going to look at some stills and footage by way of the official Street Fighter account on Twitter, the Alex Valle, Event Hubs, and BN Motives, who live streamed the whole panel on Twitch. First, we're going to take a look at the poster boy, Ryu. You can see he's sporting his classic look, and if you look closely at his hair, it looks more like his Street Fighter 2 look than anything else. Seeing these characters in high fidelity using the Unreal Engine has been a real treat because of the small details. You can see the texture on his pants, you know, the small tears here and there. Even the texture of his belt looks so good. And you can see the muscle and the veins on the characters, and it just looks really nice. Next, we got to look at the CA animation, and you can see here that he's clean shaven. I always thought the strong jaw of Ryu to be really strange for the character, but he looks good here. The lighting effects look so good, and it looks like they have a half-tone look for all the CAs. I don't know if that will stay, but it looks really good in the CAs. And you can see the stitching on his pants, the texture on the belt. It just looks so good. And last, we have the panels from BN Motives on Twitch. And the quality of this is not great. However, we get an insight, or we get a look at how they look in different positions. Most notably, if you look at the bottom left, it looks almost like a Street Fighter 4 animation, but it looks so good. And this is the Ryu that we always wanted to see, the high quality Ryu from Street Fighter 4, from Street Fighter 2, and it just looks great. The panel on the bottom right looks even better, and you can see him screaming, "Shoryuken!" The model looks so good. One thing that I really like about Street Fighter 6 so far is how the characters look when they're actually talking. You can see this in Chun-Li and her starting animation, but even just seeing this still of him saying Shoryuken just looks so realistic. Ryu looks amazing. He's not the character that I play in these games, however, I'm just so happy to see these characters come to life in the next-gen graphics. And before we go to Chun-Li, I just wanted to invite you all to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button to find more videos like this. The strongest woman in the world, and damn, this looks good. Look at the texture on her clothes. Tell me nah, you guys can almost feel the texture. Like, we know what that feels like. Chun-Li's got the spiked bracelets back on and the traditional white boots, and the boots look so good. The delicate touch of her front foot is just such a nice touch. If you look at the puffs on her shoulders, the detail in that, it looks so damn good. Now, two concerns I have about this. The first being about the model itself. This is the second costume that we had a chance to see for Chun-Li, and there's been a lot of discussion about the model, mostly regarding around her legs. It almost looks like the model was done by two different people. If you look at the torso, the top looks very different than the bottom. On the first costume, it wasn't as noticeable, but since we have a peek at the legs themselves, it doesn't even look like it's attached to the character. I'm assuming that they're going to change the model in some way, because that can't stay as is. It just looks really weird. And I don't want to be that guy to bring up how lewd her costume is, because her costume has been the same for decades. However, Street Fighter V had a problem with our Mika and Cammy at the launch of Street Fighter V, because if they were to keep some of that stuff in, they would have to get a higher rating. And that costume is not leaving much for the imagination. I mean, just even this still alone, I'm just saying, I love it. I love how this looks. Just having some concerns. But again, this costume looks amazing, and she looks really good, and I'm really hyped to see what else they have in store for these characters. And next, we have more of the stills. We have two new shots here. One being the CA on the top right, which looks awesome. As I said with Ryu, this is the way we wanted to see next-gen graphics with Chun-Li, and it looks awesome. In the bottom, we have her Gomene taunt, and it looks really cool. According to Event Hubs, this taunt actually has a hitbox. It makes you think, does Luke's taunt have a hitbox? I just cannot get over that top right panel. Like, look at it. This is the Chun-Li that we've always wanted. And also, if you look at the top right, her legs don't look that big, and the pose on the bottom right, they don't look as egregious as her neutral stance. All right, next, let's look at Luke. Luke in his neutral stance, having an alternate costume, and well, he's got shoes on. That's good. He's got shoes on. Now, I'm going to break the flow of things a bit, because we're going to go to the next still real quick. An issue that I had was his hat. His hat looks really weird in the neutral stance. However, when you look at the CA pose, it actually makes a lot of sense. His hat is slightly ajar. I guess that wouldn't be the proper word, but the floof of his hair is sticking out in front. And I don't think it works too well in actual gameplay. Going back to it, it looks like the hat is like clipping through the hair. It doesn't look great at all. I think they're trying way too hard for Luke's character to be, how do I say, a cool cat. Hip and trendy, you know what I mean? And I just don't think it's working too well. But there's all these small things about the character that just comes off as really, it's almost like they ran a few words through AI and they got Luke. What do the kids like? Tims. Let's put some Tims on them. What do the kids like? Ripped jeans. That's in style, right? And a backwards hat. Exactly. It's really well created. The texture on the jeans look amazing. The tears by his knees look really good. I don't know what that leg, like, pouch is. I mean, at this point, just give him a fanny pack. I think that would be cooler, you know? And we can see the tattoos in this costume, and that's fine. But why does his main costume shirt have his tattoos as a design on the shirt? Like, what kind of narcissist is Luke? But let's double back to the CA, and this looks really good. And the hat looks a lot better. I do like the steam effect that we have off of Luke. Very Luffy second gear. And we can see some of the details on the shirt. The stitching on the hat looks great. Again, bringing back the halftone effect on the characters is a nice touch. And I think overall, like, Luke looks really good, but again, I just cannot get over how targeted Luke's design is. It just comes off as really goofy and very Japan's attempt at finding a hip American male, you know? And then we have the stills for Luke. We have the bottom right. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's one of his taunts or one of his animations, but it looks good. It looks fine. I just really have concerns over the backwards cap. You can get rid of the backwards cap. The floof in the front, I know that's what they were trying to go for, but it just doesn't look great. Moving right along, we're going to go over to Jamie. And everything that I said about Luke, I cannot say about my boy Jamie. Jamie looks amazing. And I feel like they tried to make him look gaudy, but son, that's drip. That looks amazing. Anytime you get gold and black together, it's just the template for just fire. The color scheme looks amazing. The gold, the black, the red, everything just comes together. Looking at the texture on the bubble coat, like, look at that. It looks so good. And the small things. Now, I'm wondering how the drawstrings will look, because that looks a little too symmetrical, but I'm sure they'll sway in the wind. But look at the elastic around his waist. That looks so good. This costume is amazing. I just love how the front leg is rolled up. That's pretty cool. Seeing Jamie is just always a treat. I just love how this character looks, how he's animated, even his fight pose, the trigger fingers, it just looks so good. And we have a shot of his CA, and oh man, I just love this so much. It looks so nice. And just even the lens effect, the blur in the front, it just looks so good. The shallow depth of field when it comes to it just looks cinematic. And his CA is really nice to begin with. And I like the ornate, like, watercolor that surrounds him during his CA. But we're not here to talk about the CA per se. We're here to look at the costume. And one thing that I notice is it looks like the zipper doesn't actually have a zipper, but it could be on the other side. Thought it should be on this side. I might be wrong though. The bubble coat, the way it reflects light looks amazing and realistic. His sweatpants look really good too. The texture on it looks amazing. Just Jamie has been, in my point of view, the sleeper best character design so far. And then with the stills, we have a little bit more. We have on the bottom left, I'm assuming is when he goes into his full drink levels. And then the final one we see when his hair is down and out. The luscious locks with his new costume. And you know what? We get another shot of Luke in his costume, and it looks a lot better in the CA animations. Jamie just steals the scene every time he's on it. Am I in love? Like, is that the thing? Like, do I got a crush? I don't know. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Fire in the booth. And last but not least, we have Guile. Now, we know that Guile was going to have this costume because there were some leaked footage of Guile, and even in the first trailer that we saw him all the way in the background on one of the scenes with Cammy. So we knew that this costume was going to come, and when they show Cammy, that costume will also be in the game too, her classic one. But Guile looks good. I would be remiss if I didn't just talk about the hair first and foremost, but Guile's hair is iconic. And even though I think it's a bit short, I would love to have had some more length to it. Pause. Just the texture of the hair looks really nice. And whereas I thought Ryu having that strong jawline doesn't really fit my view of Ryu, but however, it really does fit Guile well. His tank top looks great on him, but I can't help but look at the pants and the boots. The texture on them look really good. Having that almost like cargo look and feel to it, it just looks lifelike. It looks realistic. Like this is what I wanted from, you know, Street Fighter V. The boots having that canvas look, and it doesn't reflect light really all that well except for the front. They're killing it with the effects on these characters. You can see the details in the arms, the veins, the musculature. I want to see more characters, you know? And now we have Guile CA. What we've seen so far, this is easily the best CA KO screen so far. A really nice touch. The lighting effect from his flash kick is lighting his back. It's backlighting Guile. That is so nice. The one concerning part is if we look at the left leg, we can kind of see how they're faking the blur of it, and hopefully they clean that up. However, I just cannot get over the dynamic lighting, and with this lighting, look at the tank top by his ribs. You can see the texture of the tank top. Then we look at the pants, the cargo, and the boots, the canvas. It's just all so nice. And we can even see the hair, individual strands of hair. It's just, Akuma is going to look so damn good with these effects. Akuma, Juri. I mean, of course I want to see Juri. Like Juri with this lighting, with the textures, it's just so exciting and pumps us up for more news. Capcom, keep slow dripping this stuff, please. And the final still for Guile, we have these 4 shots. We have the CA that we've seen already. We have the taunt from Guile on the bottom right as well. We see his neutral stance on the top left, and seeing Guile in his nostalgia costume in that stance, just, you can't help but hear his theme, right? Just looks awesome. And the puffed chest on the top right from his CA, his Sonic Hurricane, just looks really, really nice. You can't look at these things and not be pumped. This final still comes at us from the Twitter account FGC Daily, and they put a comparison shot of all the characters from Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5, and Street Fighter 6 that we've seen so far. Now, this is going to be a hot take, but I think the Street Fighter 5 poses for these characters are better than Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 6. Look at Ryu. The Street Fighter 4 and the Street Fighter 6 don't have that leaned in look that Street Fighter 5 has. Ryu has this I'm ready to go look. Although Street Fighter 6, he's probably less aggressive since he's gotten rid of the Satsui no Hado. I just like that leaned in look. Let's look at Chun-Li, and her stance looks very focused in Street Fighter 5. She has this stoic, calm look to her. And in Street Fighter 4, in comparison, yes, she has a nice calmness to her in both Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 6, but at the same time, it doesn't have that purposeful stoicness that she has in Street Fighter 5. Now, going back to the legs, now Street Fighter 4, we had the same view that, damn, her thighs are kind of big. Street Fighter 5, we went, yeah, her thighs are kind of big, and, you know, her waist is kind of getting smaller, right? But Street Fighter 6, it takes it up like a completely new level. More so, I guess I have to eat crow because Street Fighter 4, her back leg has that stumpy look to it, but that's perspective. I get it. I used to do art too, right? But the stance just looks disjointed. Look at Ryu Street Fighter 6, look at Guile Street Fighter 6, and then look at Chun-Li's. It just looks unfinished. Still, the HD quality of these characters are just so nice to see. And then we have Guile. Street Fighter 4 to Street Fighter 5, we have this very big upgrade in how he looks. I always thought in Street Fighter 4, Guile looked very Neanderthalish. And in Street Fighter 5, I mean, he still has that Cro-Magnon skull. his arms didn't look as long as they did in Street Fighter 4. In Street Fighter 6, they corrected it. His arms don't look long as hell. In fact, they look more natural, but super brolic. But you can see the progression in the graphics in Street Fighter 4 to Street Fighter 5 to now Street Fighter 6. I think out of all of the characters, I think Guile looks the best out of the returning characters that we have seen so far. Everyone sounds so impressed with it.
で今日ちょっとね説明させてもらったら Jamie なんですけども、まあルークのライバルキャラクターということで
I cannot get over how good Jamie's CA looks on the bottom right. I get super hyped every time I see that. He busts your ass and tells you to get up. That's so cool.
これもまあリリースされたのでちょっとしっかり見ていただきたいです。So yeah, now finally we got Jamie, who is actually Luke's rival in the story of Street Fighter 6. This is him in his streetwear. If you pay close attention to the chain that he's wearing, you know, we put a lot of effort into the details of that. It's very
I didn't even see the chain. Oh.
So hope you guys take a look at it and pay attention when he's available.
Pretty cool. And that was brought to us by the Alex Valle, so good looks to him for providing that. I was super pumped to see all of it. I actually am very pumped to see what you guys say about it. Like, which one was your favorite? Not only that, but seeing these characters in such high fidelity, and the more footage that we see of this game, the more hype I get. What other characters do you want to see? What other costumes do you want to see for the characters? Also, as a jury player, I'm also excited to see the nostalgia costume for Jury Street Fighter 4, but also we have a chance to see Jury Street Fighter 5 costume. Any news that we get for Street Fighter 6 is so exciting, and I'm going to be covering as much as I can as it drops at this channel, so make sure to subscribe to it, and if you want, hit the bell icon to be notified when my streams go up. I'm itching for more news, more footage, more gameplay, and then I had a chance to see Luffy and Mr. Crimson play, and I have a video on screen right now. If you want to watch that one, it's right there, free of charge. Go take a look at it, and hopefully I'll see you over there. Have a good one. I love you all. Tell your loved ones you love them. Drink some water. I'll see you in the next one.